Hey everybody, today is finally the day where I'm going to go over every single album that I heard that came out in 2023. This list has over 200 albums, so there's a lot to get into here. But I'm really excited to do this because it's something I've been looking forward to going over, just kind of reflecting on everything. It's always fun. First thing I wanted to mention was numbers. 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, whatever. Don't take it that seriously. I just use it as a way to organize my thoughts. Two, there's so many albums to get through here, so some of them I'm going to breeze through very quickly, probably. The ones I have more thoughts on, I'll go in more depth about, etc., right? But yeah, okay, let's just get started here. First album up here, we have Hard Light by Drop 19s. Drop 19s are a group that I haven't really fully gotten into. I've heard Delaware, which I know is a classic. Pretty good. This album's also pretty good. I'd put it in the 6 out of 10. Not super standout shoegaze to me personally, but I still enjoyed the experience overall for sure. After the Magic by Paranol. This is a great album. Really love this one. Paranol is a group that I clicked with pretty quickly over the past year or so. And this new album is just beautiful, gorgeous, super serene. Feels like I'm just in the heavens. It's pretty much everything that I want shoegaze to do for me. Gigi's Recovery by The Murder Capital. This was one of the first releases I heard this year, and it's a great post-punk album. Really enjoyed it, still have been replaying it. I really specifically love the title track. I can see the skyline flying by my window. It's not like the most insanely unique post-punk in the world, but it's just really solid, really earwormy. Good production and performances and songwriting. It's just overall really solid. Phosphorescent by Gabrielle Aplin. This record, for me, it had a promising start. I really like the song Starlight. The rest of the record is pretty good, but nothing really lives up to that song for me. That's really all I have to say about it. Not a bad one, though. Never Going Under by Circa Waves. I really love the production of this album. It's super punchy. There are a couple great standout tracks, specifically in the first half, I think. But the rest of the album doesn't quite land as much for me as those first few tracks. Still not a bad listen, though. I'd put it like right here. Cacti by Billy Nomates, I believe. This album, instrumentally, I don't think is anything too crazy, but the vocals really sell it for me, and there are some pretty catchy melodies. Solid post-punk stuff, indie rock, in that sort of vein. I like it. Definitely not a bad record. Cuts and Bruises by Inhaler. I heard their last record, and I liked it somewhat. There was a couple of catchy songs, and this record, I'm in the same boat. It's like some decent songs, but overall not super duper memorable for me personally. I really do think they have some potential, though, to make something really good, and I'm excited to at least see where they go. Gloria by Sam Smith. I know this one's a bit of a wild one here, just in terms of like what I normally listen to. I don't know why I decided to listen to it, and it's not like it's fine. I feel like it got a little bit more hate than it deserves to some degree. I do really appreciate the themes on this album. That's something I can praise. It doesn't really do anything too crazy. It just, it's a fine pop record. The Moth, the Lizard, and the Secret Machines by Secret Machines. To anyone who doesn't know who this band is, they're a band from the 2000s that my dad actually showed me, and I fell in love with. I absolutely love their first album. It's called Now Here Is Nowhere. I'm going to give you a little bit of a taste of what that sounds like. Oh, you'd be surprised. I genuinely think they're a super underrated band, and I was really excited to hear when they were coming out with this record. Unfortunately, it really didn't do all that much for me. It doesn't have the same sort of life that I kind of loved about their first album. It kind of just gets a little stale after a little while, just for me personally. I don't think it's a bad record, but would I return to it? I don't know. Again, highly recommend their first record, though. It's so good. So good. Raven by Kelela, I think? Very cool pop record. Really enjoyed this one. It's super subdued, super ambient at times, but the personality, the production, and the songwriting is all there. It's a very solid album. Even for its length, it's a long one, and it really does justice to its runtime. 15 songs. Especially love the song Happy Ending, Washed Away, Contact. It's a very unique feel of an album. Really like it. The Rotten Opera by Puzzle. Really big fan of The Garden. I believe Puzzle is Fletcher Shears, who is one of the two members of The Garden, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's definitely not bad. There were some cool ideas. Nothing too crazy. Not a bad one, though. He definitely has quite a unique sound. I mean, so does The Garden, and also Enjoy, which is something we'll get to later. But, yeah. Dark Fighter by Rival Sons. This is just Rival Sons doing what they do best, making some bangers. I enjoyed it. Fun album. Stereo Mind Game by Daughter. Really pretty, really nice indie rock dream pop. Derealized by J. Do Hart. This is one of my favorite indie records of the year. I love this so much. I really have replayed it a lot. It's only grown on me. It's not the most like mind-blowing thing ever, but every song is so damn catchy. There really isn't a dud. I just love it through and through. The production's also super cool. There's some shoegazier moments. Definitely had some nighttime drives to this one. This list is also going to include EPs, and this one is the Become EP by Beach House. Huge Beach House fan. This one didn't blow my mind, but it's nice. It's a nice listen. I'm never not gonna have at least a pleasant experience with Beach House. It just kind of feels like leftovers from Once Twice a Melody. Not a bad time at all. I'd put it like at a high 6. Late Developers by Belle and Sebastian. Indie pop that didn't really blow my mind. It's fine. I don't know. I don't really have much else to say about it. 5 Easy Hot Dogs by Mac DeMarco. Man, Mac DeMarco did some whack shit this year. That's for real. Not only is this album just instrumental, but he also released an album with, I believe, 200 songs on it that are just random jams. I mean, more power to him. I did not listen to that full album, I'll be honest, the 200 songs one. Sorry about that. I did listen to this one, though, and I don't know. It's fine. I'm going to put it right here. It's just fine instrumental music. Like, it barely feels like a Mac DeMarco record, honestly. It feels more like a B-sides thing, but I think it counts in his discography as, like, an actual record. Yeah, I don't know. I can totally understand why someone would enjoy this, but just for me, it didn't really do much. 2 Pages of Frankenstein by The National. I'm actually going to go ahead and rate both The National records. Where's the other one? Here we go. We also got Laugh Track right here. First 2 Pages of Frankenstein, it's kind of run-of-the-mill for The National. Just knowing their catalog, it's an okay one. It didn't do all too much for me. I do like some of the features, but I don't know. Laugh Track is definitely better, I would say, although it still isn't my favorite record from the year or anything. There are some kind of cool songs on here, though, like Space Invader and Smoke Detector. But I still kind of, I still kind of have the same issues as I do with First 2 Pages of Frankenstein. Neither are bad, though. I don't really think they are, but I'd put it right here. Fantasy by M83. Some people were a bit split on this one, but I honestly really enjoyed it. I just really like M83's sound. It's pretty long, but I mean, it's pretty consistent, and there are some really nice atmospheres and cool moments here. I've actually really been getting into one of their earlier records. It's like Dead Cities, Lost, something. I don't know. It's a shoegaze record, and it's really awesome. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. I honestly did. Really love the song Earth to Sea, especially. Sevens by Avi Tear. This is one I was interested about for sure. I mean, Avi Tear, Animal Collective, right? It didn't overall do that much for me. I feel like some of the ideas could have either gone a little further or were a little too just wonky. I will say, though, I absolutely love the song Sweeper's Grin. I think that song is super hypnotizing. It's in the 6 out of 10 range for me, but I really do love that song. All Fiction by Pyle. Okay, this band, I love this band. Like, this year, got into them. Completely random thing too, because I heard one of their earlier records from just a Spotify recommendation, and I absolutely loved that record. And so I decided to do a deep dive on the discography, and I ended up hearing this one. And I didn't realize this came out this year, but it did, and it's great. I like it a lot. I'd put it right here. Yeah. There's some really cool songs on here, and they're just one of the coolest, feel like most consistent indie rock bands I've heard in a while. I actually got to catch them live on their tour for this album, and they were one of the best live shows I've seen this year, hands down. They were phenomenal. I even got to meet them. They were super duper nice people. It was an awesome experience. They're fucking awesome. This band is great. This album's very good. I think my favorite song on this album is the opener, It Comes Closer. Super atmospheric, super intense. Love it. Less by Death Crash. This is just some great slowcore. Very patient, but super rewarding with the riffs. The very passionate feeling throughout the entire record. Super desolate. The album cover, it's very, I don't know, it gives me that sort of feel. Yeah, I don't know, it really does something for me. I mean, I'm a big fan of slowcore when it hits right, and this one really did. Really loved Pirouette and A Distant Song. Tracy Denim by Bar Italia. I'm also going to go ahead and grab the other Bar Italia record from this year, The Twits. Tracy Denim, love it. Really, really love it. If you like post-punky, really moody indie rock that has it has a very dark but super catchy and unique feel to it. I really, really love this one. So many songs I've been playing throughout the year, so like just a ton. It really is such a vibe. Especially the songs Nursed, Punked, My Kiss Era, Mrs. Mortality. Definitely like a late night drive album. Yeah. Get it back, anyone kill you now, and forget at your dreams and come this way. You don't belong where you are. The Twits doesn't do quite as much for me as Tracy Denim does. I still overall enjoyed it. I don't know. I feel like the vibe was a lot stronger and the songs were just a lot more catchier and memorable. But still not a bad record. These next two albums are from the artist What Is Your Name? This album is called Beyond Old Names, Everyone's Songs. This is such a vibe of a record. Very like folktronica-centric, kind of lo-fi too. It gives me a little bit of like some car seat headrest vibes. But this is such a like euphoric listen in a lot of ways. It's very solid. And their other record, which is called My Name Is ... I think it's even better. There are some really, really amazing, passionate songs on this one. I almost missed out on it this year, and I'm really glad I didn't. Especially the opener, It's Okay. I think it's a little bit more distinct than their other record this year, but I love both. I think they're both very good. Recommend this group to anyone who hasn't heard of them. Disposable Everything by AJJ. I really do love AJJ. A lot of my friends are big AJJ fans. This one kind of feels like AJJ doling down their sound a little bit. I don't know. I didn't dislike it, and I think there are some pretty cool songs. I really like I Want to Be Your Dog too. I mean, that's just a super catchy, super cute song. Some songs though, like Candles of Love, like really, I don't know. I just feel like this album was kind of cheesy in some ways, but there are some alright songs too. I'd put it in the 6 out of 10 range. I Don't Know by Bedroom, I believe, or it's like BDRMM. Overall, definitely a vibe of an album. I did hear their debut, and it's pretty decent. I think this was an improvement. I like the shoegazier side to some of their songs. I like how a song like Just a Bit of Blood ups the energy in their sound a little bit. Yeah, it's a solid record for sure. How to Sink Slowly by Broken Teeth. It's a solid shoegaze album. It's not the most like distinctive shoegaze album, but it's a nice experience. Norm by Andy Schaaf. It's a vibe. It's chill. It doesn't blow your mind, but it's a pleasant experience. All of This Will End by Indigo de Souza. I really got into her music throughout the year. I've tried to get into her music before, and it didn't fully click, so I kind of put it off for some reason, but now I really think she's a great artist. And this new album of hers is very solid. I don't know if it's my favorite record from her, but it's very, very good. I like it a lot, enjoyed it. Put it at the top of the 7s. I mean, a song like Younger and Dumber, I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful song, super impactful. I also love the title track a lot, super catchy, super chill. Not My Body is a great one, Smog is a great one. Yeah, just overall, great indie rock record.
Inside my cage, I watch the clouds getting angry, turning dark and raining down.
Also, okay, I don't know if you noticed, but I switched this album cover out with this one because they both look so similar and I got them mixed up. This is an EP by a band called Dust that someone recommended me, etc., etc. I believe that's what it's called. It's pretty cool, honestly. I mean, cool sound. It kind of has a post-punky vibe. The song Ward 52 is a banger. I think this band has a ton of potential, and I really am excited to see where they go. Red Moon and Venus by Kali Uchis. I've heard a lot about her, and also, this is kind of the first time I'm really diving into some more soul and R&B related stuff. It's a genre that I haven't touched a lot, but I know I'm glad I decided to give this a listen, because it's pretty damn good. Not entirely my flavor of music, but I still really appreciate it, and it's still overall a very solid record. Really love the song I Wish You Roses. Submersive Behavior by Tropical Fuckstorm. Believe this is an EP. It's kind of cool. I mean, it has a cool Jimi Hendrix cover on it. I do really like Tropical Fuckstorm, especially their first record. I think that Jimi Hendrix cover is probably the best part of this album, but still a pretty decent EP. Failed at Maths by Panchico. I actually got to see Panchico live this year. They were super sick. It was the one concert where I forgot to bring earplugs, though, and that sucked. But everything else about the concert was great. And also, I wanted to mention this because it completely blew my mind at the time whenever this happened. At this show, my friends and I were walking up to the back of the line, and these two people stepped out of the line and were like, "Hey, I know you." And I'm like, "Wait, who are y'all?" And they were like, "I watch your videos." And I'm like, "What? Really?" And that was just a really sweet thing. If those people are watching this video, huge shout out. Y'all were very cool and awesome, and it was insane. It was just a mind-boggling thing to think that someone randomly just watches my videos out there, and and they were just in the line for Panchico. But yeah, I just wanted to give much love and a shout out to those people. But this is a very good album. I really enjoy it. It's super catchy all the way through. I actually... Hot take, I like this more than the earlier Panchico stuff. Especially love the title track. It's super groovy, super catchy. Love the little electronic parts to it. Also love Gwen Everest. That's a great shoegaze track. New York City by The Men. Don't have too much to say about it. It's a decent garage rock record. Living Human Treasure by Italia 90. It's solid. Like, it's groovy, good sound. Really like the tracks New Factory and Tales from Beyond. Those ones are pretty solid. The bass line, especially on New Factory, is great. I do like that. Ooh, very excited about this one. Girl with Fish by Feeble Little Horse. Up till now, this is my favorite record. Up till now, out of all the ones that we've gone through, this one's my favorite so far. Immediately when I first heard it, I was just searching for random albums and came across it, and I'm like, oh, shoegaze, it's gonna be, I'll check it out. I like shoegaze. Every fucking song on this album, oh my god. It's all so catchy, it's all so thick in the production, has a lot of energy on specific tracks, and even when it reels back, it's still super interesting. Super great production, super great vocals, super great songwriting. All around, such a good record. So freaking catchy. This is one that's been on repeat for sure. The song Tin Man, oh my god. That song is so earwormy, such ear candy. Those guitars are so fuzzy and so satisfying. Steamroller, Freak, Paces. I mean, yeah, so many great songs. It's so good. Why Does the Earth Give Us People to Love by Cara Jackson. Beautiful, very existential, very personal, very good singer-songwriter, folky deal. I still kind of hope it grows on me some more. I definitely like it a lot. I don't know. I haven't fully clicked with it, but I feel like there's going to be a time where I click with it even more. Still definitely a solid album, though. Put it right here. Love the freaking title track. It randomly came up on my playlist on Christmas, actually, out of all days, and I was like, wow, this is so good. I don't remember this being as good as it is. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to go through it again. I've tried to catch up and re-listen to a lot of albums, but still very much enjoy it.
The angels licensed you to leave.
Everyone's Crushed by Water From Your Eyes. This is a wild record. I'm actually going to see these guys live with Squid in February, which I'm so stoked about. I'm so freaking excited for that show. Y'all have no idea. I don't love every single moment, but the moments that hit. It's very experimental, kind of post-punky at some points. Yeah, it's a weird one, but I enjoy it. True Life is my favorite song. I've Seen a Way by Mandy, Indiana. This is a weird one. There are parts of this that are so cool. It's super industrial, super just all over the place in some ways. Other parts I feel like kind of have a little bit of a detriment because of that. But it's an interesting experience for sure. Again, not every moment I click with, but it's kind of cool. Yes, here we go. Food for Worms by Shame. 100% one of my favorite albums of the year. It's going in the 9 out of 10. Yeah, this is not only my favorite Shame album, I think it is probably my post-punk album of the year, maybe, unless I'm forgetting something. Yeah, it's freaking literally every single song on this album is so good. I've had a lot of time to simmer with it, and it's only grown on me more. Songs like All the People, A Different Person, Fingers of Steel, Six Pack, Yankees, Burning by Design, Adderall, so many good songs. It is such an achievement of a post-punk album, in my opinion. I really, really love it. The production's a little bit rough, and that's something I feel like I've had to get used to, but I think the songwriting just shines through 100%. I think this was also the first album where they did all the songs with live takes and then kind of went from there with them, which is interesting. You can kind of tell. It is kind of apparent. I really want to mention one line on All the People, which is the final song on the album. Such a beautiful line. It's, all the people that you're gonna meet, don't you throw them all away because you can't love yourself. When you're smiling and you're looking at me, a life without that is a life that I can't lead. That shit is poetry, man. I really could go on and on about it. I genuinely love this album. But yeah, Shame, such a great band.
You're complaining a lot about the things that you got. All the people that you're gonna meet, don't you throw it all away.
Bunny by Beach Fossils. I feel like they have better records. Definitely not a bad listen. It's pleasant on the ears. I just feel like it can get a little monotone and dynamically a little dull. Definitely nice to put on in the background though. That's kind of my stance on it. Higher Lonely Power by Fireworks. This actually might be a little bit of a hot take, but I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I feel like a lot of people were mixed on this one, and I don't know. I thought there were some catchy hooks. I really like the opening track. It's super heavy and crazy. I don't know. It's fun. I like it. Intellectual Property by Waterparks. There were a lot of albums that I listened to this year. I tried to just listen to everything, even if I didn't think I would love it, just because I wanted to give everything a shot. Why not? This is one of those albums, though, where, yeah, it didn't really do much for me. There actually are some melodies and ideas here that are kind of cool and interesting, but yeah, goddamn, this gets kind of cheesy to me pretty fast. Not the biggest fan of the vocals, and the production's super overblown in some areas. I don't know. Even though I'm not a fan of it, I'm still glad I gave it a shot. Rat Saw God by Wednesday. Very cool band. I have really been looking forward to this record because last year they released the song Bull Believer, which if you haven't heard that song, it is one of the most insane and crushing noise rock songs I've ever heard in my life. It's 8 minutes. The ending is extremely euphoric, insane. It is just, oh my god. Genuinely cannot praise that song enough. It is so good. Now, what I wasn't expecting with this album is it to also be an alt country album. Yeah, a little wild. It's still really cool though, and I really like it. I feel like Bull Believer does carry this album a little bit, but songs like Turkey Vultures and also Hot Rotten Grass Smell. Interesting song title, but it's the first song on the album and it's like a minute and a half. Banger. I've Got Me by Joanna Sternberg. I think my favorite part about this album is the honest lyricism and kind of the tongue-in-cheek sort of nature to her singing style. The songs themselves don't really stand out as all too crazy memorable for me, but definitely a pleasant listen, and I can totally understand why people like this one. I'm gonna butcher the title of this album, so it's Anafrango Electrico's new record. This one's just super fun, super dancey, a lot of really, really good bass lines on this thing. For some reason, gave me a little bit of a Daft Punk vibe. I mean, it's not electronic really, but it's just like the same sort of dancey, vibey nature. Yeah, just super fun overall. High 7 for me. Ways of Knowing by Navy Blue. I believe this is the first hip-hop record on the list. This one, I can really appreciate the instrumentals. I do think the vocal delivery kind of leaves a little bit to be desired for me personally. Can totally understand why people like this one, and it's still a solid record. Dead Club City by Nothing But Thieves. This Nothing But Thieves record is a lot more dancey and synth-poppy than what I'm used to from them, and I feel like I just gravitate towards their more rocky stuff than I do to this. Not a bad record though. I really love Pop the Balloon. That's the last song on this album. That's a great, great song. Smelltown Stardust by King Tuff, a record and artist that I feel like has a lot of potential. This record's just pretty decent though. Lucky for You by Bully, solid indie record. I feel like the vocals really sell it, super passionate and expressive. I like the variation on this album, and I think songs like All I Do and All This Noise are really cool. I think All This Noise is basically a punk song, which is awesome. Yeah, it's a cool one. Oh, here we are. 3D Country by Geese. This album is going to take my number 3 spot in my albums of the year. Wow, God, where do I even start with this album? Where do I even freaking start? I've mentioned it before. I even talked about it in my previous video. One of my favorite bands of all time, probably, at this point. Their last record, Projector, is something I really fell in love with and has a lot of emotional attachment for me. But they decided to do the biggest left turn, I think, of this year. Besides like Lil Yachty. They went southern art rock punk something, and it's awesome. I love this album. I love this band. Every single song on this album is great. Talk about the opening track, 2122, which has the most frantic, all over the place, but super duper exciting song structure. It's insane, constantly having new ideas, really fun vocal performances.
Generation roulette, I'm spinning you around again. So get out, get under, get under.
Take a song like Undoer with one of the coolest bass lines I've heard in a long time, with also one of the most explosive endings, one of the most cathartic sounding fucking melodies. Absolutely love the bridge section where it just goes into this breakdown. It's like if dad rock wasn't dad rock, you know? It's I don't know how to explain it. It's just such a unique feel. I love the closer, St. Elmo, one of the coolest freaking bass lines, so groovy. I See Myself as awesome with the backup singers. They had so much great production and so much cool, unique instrumentation here. Cameron, which is the vocalist, super duper expressive. All the band members did so good here. If you haven't heard this record, please go listen to it. I could keep going. I know I've been rambling a lot, but man, it is this band. You know what, while I'm at it, here we go, 4D Country. This is the EP they released after 3D Country. Also a 9 out of 10. I mean, it's just more great songs. They feel like they could just fit right in on 3D Country. I love the extended version of the title track. My other favorite song on the album is Art of War. That song's insane. The breakdown at the end. Talk about Jesse, super catchy. Yeah. Geese is the shit. Geese is the shit. Okay, I'm done now. Redshift Blues by Despirited Spirits. Here's another really, really great record from this year. I think this album takes Midwest emo and art rock and other genres alike and just smushes it into this really impactful, grand, expansive experience. It seriously is such a dreamy record. The riffs go insane. The vocal performances are beautiful. So much to love about this. I think it's only 8 tracks long, and some of them are like 9 minutes. Some of them are like 7 minutes. Highly recommend this one to anyone who hasn't heard it. Solid 8 for sure. Okay, I actually forgot to do these as a pair. I was going to do After the Magic and this one as a pair, but this one is After the Night by Paranol. This is the live record they released kind of in support of After the Magic, and it is magical. This is, I think, even better than After the Magic. I think a lot of people are actually saying this is album of the year, which I do not blame them. It's freaking great. I'm going to put it right here in the 9 out of 10 slot. The whole album is great, but the biggest and most impressive and most earth-shattering and mind-blowing song on the album is Into the Endless Night, which in itself could be an own album. It is 45 minutes long, one song. Insane experience. If you want something to just blow your mind, that is definitely a song that will do it. So many beautiful parts, so many explosive parts. It's really a crazy experience. The fact that it's live as well, like, holy shit. This is insane for a live album. Really, really great shoegaze indie rock stuff here. Intercepted Message by Osees. Some really cool ideas and really cool production. Although I feel like some of the song ideas can get a little stale, it's still a cool record, and it's an interesting direction for Osees, and I kind of want to see if they take it even further at some point. So much for Stardust by Fall Out Boy. Never been the biggest Fall Out Boy fan, but I decided to give this a shot, and it's not bad. I mean, I didn't dislike it. Not necessarily entirely my thing, but I don't know, it's pretty alright. Melodies on a Hiatus by Albert Hammond Jr. For anyone who doesn't know who this is, it's the guitarist of The Strokes. He has a pretty cool solo career. I've kept up with a couple of releases from him. This one is interesting. It's a double album, and it's really long, and I feel like it doesn't need to be as long as it is. There are some pretty decent songs here. I do like some of his other stuff a little bit more, though. Is It by Ben Howard. Good production and has some pretty cool ideas. Overall, didn't leave much of an impact, though. I do like how slick the song Walking Backwards is, though. The Wailer by Homosware. I really, really, really like this record. I've been jamming this one a ton recently. This was a record that I tried to listen to at one point this year, and I just, for some reason, wasn't into it at the time. I come back listening to it in December, and I am blown away by how expressive, catchy, and gruesome and insane these topics are. There's a song on this album called Every Day Feels Like 9/11. That's actually, I think, my favorite song on the album. Really emotionally potent and pretty unique album that has a very pessimistic view on everything. It does it in a really unique way, and I really, really like it. I also really love the vocalist. The instrumentation is cool. A lot of really awesome ideas just across this entire thing. As I mentioned, Every Day Feels Like 9/11. Skin Meadow, oh, that's a great one. Ooh, Floral Organs, that's a great song. Yeah, I'm gonna put this right here. Yeah, it's pretty high up. I really, really enjoyed this one. Performances by Land of Talk. Indie rock group that I really, really love. They have an album called Cloak and Cipher, which I actually fell in love with this year. This new one, it's okay. I didn't click with it quite as much. I feel like some of the song ideas are just a little bit dry. I don't know. Just for me personally, I would put it probably right here. Self-titled album with Greg Mendez here. Didn't leave as much of an impact on me personally as much as it did for some other people, but I still do appreciate the lyricism and instrumentation. The Patience by Mick Jenkins. Here's another hip-hop record. I was going into this expecting it to be like a kind of downer album just from the album cover, but it is not that, actually. It's pretty energetic. It's cool. There's some very cool vocal delivery throughout this album. I really like how hard the song Pasta goes. That shit goes crazy. Show and Tell is a great track too. The Land, the Water, the Sky by Black Belt Eagle Scout. I think the performances do kind of weigh down the experience a little bit, but it's still a pleasant listen. The Death of Randy Fitzsimmons by The Hives. I was really interested to hear from this group again. They kind of resurfaced, I think, a little bit with this album. I haven't thought about them in a while. They released some pretty banger songs, though. Didn't do quite as much for me. I think some of it gets a little cheesy every now and then. Just, I don't know, for me personally. Can understand the praise, though, and not a bad record. Time Will Wait for No One by Local Natives. I really like this band's first two records. I actually went through all of their albums sort of recently. And this new one, I mean, it's alright. I like the songs Hourglass and NYE. The rest of the album, it's, it doesn't stand out quite as much to me, but yeah. Heaven is a Junkyard by Youth Lagoon. I know there were a handful of people that really enjoyed this one this year. I liked it. I don't know if it's one of my favorites. I put it at like the high 6 out of 10. There are some really pretty textures here. I do feel like it gets a little too minimal and it just kind of loses my attention sometimes, but not a bad experience. There are some pretty cool tracks like Helicopter Toy and Mercury. Sunburn by Dominic Fike. This album I kind of struggle with a little bit. It feels a little bit generic, and it also is 15 songs long when I really don't think it needs to be. That's just for me personally. I just feel like some ideas could be expanded on more. Maybe some of the lyrics could use a little work, 'cause sometimes they're a little corny. But, huge but here. I love the first track on the album, which is How Much Is Weed? That shit bops, dude. Like, that shit goes crazy. Photo album, but the color faded from it. If I could go back and tell you how it ends, I would have done it. It goes crazy. I really love that song. Okay, this one's a lot. Praise the Lord who chews, but which does not consume, or simply Hot Between Worlds by Yves Tumor. I haven't really gone into a lot of Yves Tumor's stuff, but this is a cool album for sure. Has a little bit of post-punk flavor every now and then, which I jive with. Other tracks kind of have a little bit of a neo-psychedelia sound to it. But all in all, it creates a pretty cool and memorable experience. I really like Lovely Sewer. I really like Ebony Eye, In Spite of War. Those are all cool tracks. Sit Down for Dinner by Blonde Redhead. It's just so nice on the ears. Like, it is so nice to sit down and put this album on. Really has some beautiful melodies, especially on songs like Before and Via Savona. It's just super nice. I like the singing, I like the production. It's all around very solid.
Once upon a day, was a savage, I've seen it all before.
Back to the Water Below by Royal Blood. Man, I don't know. It's fine. It's a decent record. I feel like they kind of fell from grace in some areas. I don't know. I really do enjoy their first two records a ton. It just after Typhoons, I don't know. It hasn't really been hitting the same. Also, it doesn't really help that I think they kind of treated their fans like garbage at a festival, because some of the fans didn't know who they were and they just like were really bitter and kind of stupid about it. And yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's okay. I don't know. Careful by the band Deeper. Very solid post-punk record. Bit of an underrated band. Some groovy stuff. The opening track, Build a Bridge, is one of my favorite post-punk songs of the year. It's cool. Very, very solid band. Solid album. Ooh, Bird Machine by Sparkle Horse. I will always be a Sparkle Horse fan. This album is a posthumous release many years after Sparkle Horse stopped making music and after Mark Linkous' death, which was really, really sad. This album is special in a lot of ways. Really, like, Sparkle Horse has such a special place in my heart. It's almost hard to talk about Sparkle Horse for me sometimes, just because of how much of an impact that I feel like they've had on me emotionally. I mean, Mark Linkous has some of those beautiful and crushing songwriting I feel like I've ever heard. If you haven't heard of Sparkle Horse, go listen to It's a Wonderful Life or Dreamt for Light Years in the Belly of a Mountain. Both of those records. Oh God, they're so good. So good. I believe this album was put together by his brother as just kind of a compilation of everything that he was working on before he died. We really lost a good one. We really lost a beautiful songwriter here. Take a song like Chaos of the Universe, for example. That's my favorite song on the album. God damn. That, man. It really, I'm like getting emotional right now just talking about this album and his music. Kind Ghosts, The Skull of Lucia. I don't think I can go on much more about it, but Sparkle Horse and Mark Linkous, I mean, may you rest in peace, my friend. Like, really. Okay, let's move on before I get too emotional. Exploited by Enjoy. This is the other member of the Garden, Wyatt Shears. Kind of in the same boat as Puzzle with this one. I mean, it's not bad. It's just like, I like the Garden a lot more. I do like the song Make a Dent in the City though. Dream Glow by Asian Glow. This is an interesting one. For anyone who knows Asian Glow's material, it's very shoegazy, it's very like punchy shoegazy stuff. It's really cool. I really like Asian Glow. And also the work he did with Weather Day was awesome. This record, it's a screamo album, kind of. I kind of wanted to like this one a little bit more than I did. Still not a bad time though, and it's interesting for sure. It's quite the departure. If you like Asian Glow, I mean, I'd say it's definitely worth a shot. The self-titled Green Tunnel EP right here. This is pretty cool shoegaze. I really like the song Windmill. It kind of reminds me of Paranol. It's a cool feeling of an album. I like it. Perfect Saviors by The Armed. This is a weird one. It's pretty wild, all over the place, but man, this is a really fun like indie noise rock record. It's super overblown, but really satisfying. It's pretty unique. I don't know. I haven't heard a lot from The Armed, but I might have to go into their stuff a little bit more because I enjoyed this. Sugar World by Jonathan Leandour 96. I think this is a weird one. It's kind of just a random one I decided to check out. I don't really like the vocals that much. There are some cool moments here. I actually really like the song Rivers of Another Town. If the vocals were better, I mean, I feel like this would be a pretty great project, or at least solid one, but I don't know. I'm gonna put it right here. Austin by Post Malone. This is actually my first experience with Post Malone's music, I feel like, besides maybe like a random live thing I've seen of him. I do know he's a pretty cool guy, and that's awesome. I want to like this more than I do, though. I like the emotion here. I think there's some pretty good hooks. I don't know. His vocals, at least on this project, didn't really do too much for me, and I feel like some moments are a little overblown. It's something where I do get the appeal, but it's just not something for me, really. Calling the Dogs by Citizen. I actually got to see them live this year. I think they headlined the show, but I was going to mainly see this band called Modern Color. Really cool post-hardcore band, if anyone wants to check them out. Yeah, this one, it's alright. It's kind of cool. I feel like they've had better songs, but there's some kind of dancey vibes. Prize by Rosie Plain. Random artist I checked out, and this is a very nice vibe of an indie record. If you know me, I like my vibey indie, and this is solid. It's relaxing, it's smooth, it's a chill album, and plenty of solid songs. Prove You're Good, Painted the Room, Soar, Standing Up. No Guitar by Curling. This is a bit of an interesting one. This is a band I found randomly on just Instagram from their advertising, and I just decided to check it out because it was sold to me as noisy shoegazy rock, and I fuck with that, so I'm glad I checked this one out. It's pretty damn good. Really enjoy the song High Elixir. That was, I think, one of the lead singles, and that's what got me hooked on Instagram. Yeah, I really like that one. There's also some more jangly moments and some more reeled back moments that are pretty cool. Overall, a band with a lot of potential and some pretty cool songwriting on this album. Cousin by Wilco. Haven't been really keeping up with Wilco's discography as much. I feel like I'm going to do that at some point, go through all their albums. Really love Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. You know, it's a classic. A Ghost is Born is pretty good too. This new one is pretty good. I like it. I think some songs are better than others. I really like the song Pittsburgh. There are some pretty flavorful moments in some of the songs, and I think the acoustic moments work a little bit more because I just think they're a little more unique. But yeah, it's solid. Okay, remember earlier I said I decided to listen to a bunch of albums even if I didn't think I would necessarily like them. This is one of those albums. It's The End of the World, but It's a Beautiful Day by 30 Seconds to Mars. No, thank you. I'm okay. I'm gonna put this one right here. There are some catchy melodies every now and then, but God, this is just very watered down pop, very overblown. I feel like I've used that term a lot, but I mean, I don't know, it's kind of accurate. Some really weird songwriting choices. The opener, Stuck, is a song I didn't even like hate that much, but what did they, I don't know why they decided to do like the ra-da-da-da-da-dums at the end. Like I just, and also the song 7 to 1. Oh my God, that is a song, all right. That's all I have to say about it. I don't know. I'm So Lucky by Spirit of the Beehive. It's an EP. I really have been loving Spirit of the Beehive lately. I think I talked about them a little bit before. but they are a great group, and this EP is awesome. I'm gonna put it right here, pretty damn high up. Yeah, it's only 4 songs, but those 4 songs have so much character, so catchy. Everything I love about Spirit of the Beehive is in those songs. It reminds me a lot of their most recent album, Entertainment Death, which is an album I fell in love with this year. Yeah, it's cool. It's really noisy at points. It's really psychedelic at points. It's super duper cool for being only 4 songs long.
Watch his eyes twitch, fingers start to tremor.
Oh man, okay, we have a good run of albums right here. Dog's Body by Model Actress. This album is insane. This album's insane. If you like artists like Shushu, or even Nine Inch Nails, I feel like to a degree, this album is for you. This is disgusting. This album is disgusting, super gritty, super industrial. This is like looking into one of the most disgusting sewers you've ever seen in your life. But the thing about it is it's also groovy and actually catchy, and just production wise super impressive. So many bangers. The first time I heard Donkey Show, I was so unbelievably confused and just taken aback. I'm like, what am I hearing right now? But after listening to it more, it really did find its place for me. So many great songs. Yeah, as I said, Donkey Show for sure a highlight. Probably my favorite song on the album. Mosquito, Crossing Guards, Slate, Amaranth. The singer is wild. I mean, his vocal delivery honestly was kind of funny to me at first, because on the first song he's like, yes, heaven can erase the blackness from my heart. That was honestly kind of a good impression. I mean, I'm proud of myself for that. It's a little silly at first, but man, once you like really get into the vibe and just how gross it all is in a way, it really like it does something to you. It really does. Super noisy, yet super concise. There's a lot to love with this album, and I don't know if my explanation of it did it justice, but if you like any of the things I described, give it a shot.
With the body count higher than a mosquito. If you don't have an approach, that doesn't mean I won't show you all night.
Knocknaria by Maruja. This is a really good EP. I'm gonna put it right here. If you like Black Country New Road or any of the post-punk crazy noise rock stuff, give this a listen. It's worth your time. It is awesome. It's only 4 songs. Every song is great, but I think the 2 standouts for me are Thunder and the closing track. The whole thing is great, but those 2 songs especially, man. Great group, super duper excited to see where they go. And, oh yeah, this is another big one. Javelin by Sufjan Stevens. This album will puncture your heart, rip it out, stomp on it. It is devastating as I listen, but goddamn, it is so beautiful. And I'm a massive Sufjan fan now, and I was super excited for this, and it's just great. It's so good. The highest of high 8s for me, I think. I think it's like as close as you can get on the high 8 scale. I mean, it leaves such an impact emotionally, especially with the song topics. Sufjan has gone through a lot, as far as I know. He lost his partner. God, it's just sad. I mean, that's a lot of what the album's about. He's been dealing with some, I think, medical diagnoses. He can't like move his legs or something like that. Yeah, he's been going through a lot, and I really hope he's doing okay. And I think to some degree he is, which is nice, because I feel like a lot of the lyricism on this album is really sad, but it also has that glimmer of hope there. And I mean, it really is just a beautiful display of his emotions. Not only that, but the instrumentation is unbelievable. The songwriting is beautiful. I mean, take a song like Shit Talk, for example. Goodbye Evergreen, which might be my favorite song on the album, actually. God. It's a beautiful album, and definitely up there with my favorites of the year.
A romantic second chance instead. Goodbye Evergreen, you know I love you.
Okay, this excuse the fucking album title to this album. Western Come by Corey Hansen, I believe. Over on Album of the Year, a friend of mine recommended this album to me, and it's cool. It's like kind of southern rocky. Has some really cool moments in songwriting here, especially on the song Driving Through Heaven, which is a long ass song, but it's really cool. Persuasion Architecture is also a favorite of mine. There are some really insanely fast moments here, and also some really chill moments, which is a weird mix, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know. Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe. Glad I gave it a shot. It's not necessarily for me, though. I feel like I should check out some of her other stuff because this isn't my first introduction to her, and I know she has some more highly praised stuff. I mean, I still wanted to check it out, though. And I mean, there are things I appreciate about it. I really like Janelle's voice, but it's just not really my cup of tea. Chaos for the Fly by Grian Chatton. I had no clue who this was at first, but then I realized it's the singer for Fontaine's DC. I like it. I don't like it as much as some of the Fontaine stuff. But there's some cool stuff here. There's some more electronics, and there's also some more folky elements here. I like the song Last Time, Every Time, Forever, and East Coast Bed is also really good too. Solid record. I'm going to put it actually right here, right next to the one I just talked about. Oh, this is another pretty big one. A lot of people were talking about this one. Reverend Christian Michael Hayter, otherwise known as Lingua Ignota, an artist that I've been meaning to check out for a long time, but never have really. For some reason, I need to get on that. This is my first introduction, actually, to Lingua's music, or Christian's music. It is emotionally devastating. It's an album that I really, really appreciate. I don't know how much I would come back to it as an experience, but it's something I really admire, even if it's not like my favorite of the year. I mean, obviously these lyrics and topics are very, very serious, and it really comes across the emotion, which I really do appreciate. And again, I know a lot of people would put it up way higher, and I totally respect that, and I totally respect the album a lot. It's just not something I would return to quite as much as some of these albums up here. Ooh, I'm excited to talk about this one. Yes and ... by 68. I love this band. Okay, I don't know how many people know about this band or talk about this band. I don't know. But this band is fucking badass as hell. Super aggressive. It's more post-hardcore. This album really shows that too. Very, very heavy. Also, look at this fucking album cover. It's so badass. It is so cool. They have another album, which is my favorite album from them. It's called Two Parts Viper. Highly recommend it. It has the same little snake on the front as it does on that album. This one almost feels like a spiritual successor to it in some ways. It's really cool. And also, one thing I wanted to point out that's really cool is the song titles on the album spell out a poem. There's 9 tracks in total. It says, with distance between, the captain sat, removed their hook, removed their hats. Let's be friends, end this war. They all agreed, then got bored. Within the hour, they were no more. Pretty cool. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. So many bangers on this thing, dude. Remove Their Hooks is such a good song. Same with The Captain Sat. Yeah, I really have a lot of praise for this band. It's also a 2-piece. 2 people are doing this. Really, really impressive.
Tell me something that I don't know. What can I say? I got it all figured out in my head.
Married in Mount Airy by Nicole Dollanganger. I believe that's how you say it. An album that I really had to get used to, but once I did, it really became a beautiful and chilling experience. It's super desolate. The vocals are super airy. It sounds like a ghost is singing these songs in a way. It can be pretty dark at times, but it's a very cool experience. Highly recommend it for anyone who likes some darker folk stuff. We Buy Diabetic Test Strips by Armand Hammer. This is a wild hip-hop album. It's not the most consistent for me personally. I think that's just a personal thing. I feel like I still need to get accustomed to some of this insane like abstract hip hop. But there are some moments here that I really appreciate. Trauma Mike, for example, that's a great one. And also When It Doesn't Start With a Kiss is another great one. Some people would say this is like hip hop album of the year. Totally respect that. It's not quite there just because I feel like some moments don't click with me as much personally, but still very solid. King Gizzard, I'm gonna do both of the King Gizzard records. As we know, King Gizzard likes to release 5 billion albums in one year, so If this is a surprise to anyone, it shouldn't be. What is it? Petrotonic Apocalypse? Petrodragonic Apocalypse. That's what it is. This is like the spiritual successor to Infest the Rat's Nest, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, it's cool. Very solid metal album. I think I like Infest the Rat's Nest more for its more memorable songwriting, personally. But man, there's some really great songs, really energetic, insane moments. I mean, take a song like Flamethrower. That is pure insanity when it comes to thrash metal. Definitely gonna put it in the 8 out of 10 range. Very cool album. Ooh, also like the song Dragon a lot. That's a great one.
Clapping wings, weaving through, crack it up, athlete.
Then you go to the biggest fucking left turn ever. The Silver Chord. You have a techno album going from thrash metal to techno. Yeah, it's actually really cool. This is another cool one. I think I like Dragonic Apocalypse a little bit more, but it's a fun one. It's interesting. It kind of reminds me of like Kraftwerk in some areas. My favorite song on the album is Set. I like that one a lot. It's just such a weird jump, and it's really cool. I totally appreciate it. I mean, who's doing shit like they are? Talk about both of these real quick. Frost Children, I like them. I think they have a very cool sound. I'm not the biggest hyperpop fan in general, I feel like, but I'm trying to get into it. And Frost Children, I feel like have been pushing me closer to getting into it. Speedrun is my favorite out of the two. I think it just has more memorable songs. I really like the song Obsessed. That song goes crazy. Flatline is cool. Serpent is cool. Yeah, it's a solid one, especially in the hyperpop world, which just, again, it doesn't click for me as much as some other genres, but I'm trying. Their other record, I believe it's Hearthroom. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Hearthroom. They take a little bit more of an indie rock sort of approach, which is interesting, and I do commend that. Surprisingly enough, though, I like Speedrun a little bit more because I just feel like it has more memorable and standout moments. There are some catchy melodies here, though. I like the song Not My Fault. Some kind of funny moments here, too. Alex Alone Technical Research by Alex Alone. A group I feel like a lot of people aren't too familiar with, at least to my knowledge. Maybe they are, I don't know. I saw them live opening for this band called Remember Sports, and they blew my mind as a live set. And I went back and checked out their record from, I think, 2020-ish, something like that, and it was really good. So I was looking forward to this new one, and I like some moments here. I feel like there are some songs that just don't really develop the ideas as much as I feel like they could, even with the length of some of the songs. I'm gonna put it at the very top of 6 out of 10. Okay, speaking of more hyperpop, this is such a weird one for me. I know so many people like this album this year. 10,000 Gex, 100 Gex. I like it. I do. I just wish it was more consistent, in my opinion. There's some songs on this album where I'm like, why is this here? Frog on the Floor, like, why is that here? And same with, like, The Most Wanted Person in the United States. I know this is kind of a hot take, but I'm not the biggest fan of Me, Me, Me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna show you where I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna put it right there. I will tell you, I love Billy Knows Jamie. That's such a fun song. It's like Limp Bizkit. And that's the weirdest thing ever for a hyper pop band to be compared to, I feel like. But it kind of goes insane. I also like 757 and Doritos and Fritos. That's like my favorite song on the album, probably. I want to like 100 Gex more, and I hope I do at some point. This is a step in the right direction. I like it more than their first record, but yeah, that's where I feel about it right now. Ooh, Isn't It Now by Animal Collective. I don't think I'm going to go into depth about it a lot here because I have a reaction to this album and I'm going to release it at some point. But I want you to know that I really like it. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put it there. I will say one thing. Defeat is one of the best Animal Collective songs in my opinion. I'm just going to throw that out there, leave it at that. Our Raging God is Unknown to Us by Avanade. I think it's only one person behind Avanade, and they did some really cool shit with this album. Super heavy. It's an hour long. I mean, take a song like fucking Separations of the Grim in 4 Acts. That song is absolutely insane. I Speak to Rosaries, memoir, super expansive, super in your face. For anyone who's interested, I do recommend it. It's a very cool record. I don't know, and oh god, this fucking album cover is so sick. Alright, so it's officially day 2 of me recording this. It ended up getting very late last night, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna move this to the next day. Okay, yeah, the first one of at least the day for me. Oh Monolith by Squid. This is my album of the year. Squid pulled through. They did it. I'm so happy that they landed at my number 1 this year. There was this album and another album that I'll get to that I was going back and forth between being my favorite of the year. And yeah, Squid won. And I think it was mainly just because of how much I've replayed this album. I love how Squid just went in a completely different direction than Bright Green Field, pretty much. It's a lot more spacey. I mean, there are some groovy moments, but a lot less post-punky than Bright Green Field, which I'm very cool with. It really has no dud songs to me. I think the flow of the album's so good. I mean, I've been looking forward to this album for so long because I loved Bright Green Field so much, and I was just like, what are they gonna do next? And yeah, they freaking delivered, and I think it's even better than Bright Green Field. The whole album is kind of about like fear. The song Undergrowth is extremely groovy, but the lyrical contents, it's kind of about mundanity. The chorus really puts it into perspective with it talking about he'd rather melt than be ergonomic for the rest of his days.
Economic for the rest of my days. I'd rather melt.
The first song, Swing Inside a Dream, I believe is about being like stuck in a fever dream or something like that. The Blades, I believe, is about death and getting old, kind of represented as like cutting grass.
There's people down below.
Really cool concept for an album, just kind of how each song represents something else. All the songs that I mentioned are my favorites, along with Siphon's song. And I think that's actually my number 1 on the album, Siphon song. The last song, too, is wild. It's If You Had Seen the Bull Swimming Attempts, You Would Have Stayed Away. That's what it's called. Yeah, I mean, just overall, it's an album that I've really returned to so much. And I think it is my album of the year. I don't know. Again, I was debating for a while, but I do think it is. And yeah, just really excited to see where they continue to go with their musical journey. I feel like they even have the potential to go even further. Like, I don't know. Also, my score for this is like a 9.5, I think. Just if anyone's curious. Formentura 2 by Metric. I really do like Metric, but I mean, Formentura, the first album and this one, I've just kind of like, they're pretty decent. I don't know. I don't really have too many thoughts on it. I do overall like it though. The production's always good and the vocals are always good. Dusk to Dawn by Lamp. I've been really meaning to listen to Lamp's music. I've heard a couple of songs off of other projects and it's really pretty and just folky and beautiful. And I decided to give this new album a shot, and it's definitely pretty good. It is, I think, 20 songs long though, and I feel like it doesn't need to be that long, but that's just me. And also, I still think it's good, and there's some great songs. Especially A Winter's Day, I really like that one. Except by Dead Calm. For anyone who doesn't know who this is the same artist as Sign Crushes Motorist. I think his name is Liam. He's kind of known for slowcore and like pretty depressing shit. I honestly have been falling asleep to a lot of his music. This album, though, is an interesting one because it's a bit of a departure from that. It's super folk and acoustic driven. I think it's really good. I really, really like it. I'm gonna put it right here. Yeah. There really is a lot of emotion, and the kind of lo-fi DIY production really works well for me. It's just all super satisfying. My favorite song on the album is Sweat and Tears. That song is not only very depressing, but extremely euphoric at the end as well. I remember I fell asleep to this album one night, and I never had finished it. in full before. I woke up in the middle of the night to the end of that song and I was like, holy shit, what am I listening to right now? I have that distinct memory with it. But I mean, yeah, so many great songs. Bleed, Sink, Rot, Home. Yeah, overall, a really great project. Probably my favorite one from Liam. Horse by Bet Cover. I was recommended this, and I totally see why. It's very similar to post-punk acts like Black Midi, like Shame and stuff. I do think that, unfortunately, the production does weigh this album down a lot, and I'm not normally the person to be like that sometimes, I feel like. To me, it was just a little harder to get through because of that, but the song ideas are still pretty cool, and I would be interested to hear some more from this band. Put it right here. Say Bueno by Turquoise Death. This is a very solid album. I really love the way they mix breakcore and like shoegaze and all that shit. It's really cool. There's even a song with Paranol on here, I believe. Also, they were actually an artist I got to communicate with this year, which was very cool. Super nice person, and I really like what they got going here. I'm excited to see where they go, and I also love this album cover. It's beautiful. Yard by Slow Pope. This is just solid indie. It's catchy. There's some really nice songs on here. Love the song Gone To. That one was on repeat for a little while. Cramps is good. It's all just pretty damn nice on the ears. I like it. Rush by Måneskin. Okay, I this group, I mean, I'm just gonna put it here. I'll show you where I'm gonna put it. Put it there. I thought I was gonna dislike this more than I did. I still don't necessarily love it. Every now and then there are some pretty dancey, punchy grooves, some decent singing and everything. Then there are songs where it's just like, why are you doing this? Like, I think there's a song called Blah Blah Blah, and it's I don't know. It's one of those things where I completely understand why people like this, and they did kind of blow up this year, I believe, because of this album, but it's just, it does get a little cheesy, it does get a little repetitive sometimes, just for me personally. You know, the thing about this group is I did hear some songs that weren't on this album, and I think they were like bonus tracks or something, I don't even know. And I thought they were actually kind of good, so I don't know, maybe it's just this album specifically. One Day by Fucked Up. This was in fact an album that was written in one day, so that's kind of cool. I like the instrumentals a lot. The vocalist for me doesn't do too much. Got a little bit grating, and that's kind of saying a lot for me because I feel like sometimes I like grating vocals to a degree, but I don't know. It just didn't really click with me. Although, it's still not a bad album. And I do like the song Cicada as well. I think that's a good song. Memento Mori by Depeche Mode. The main song that sticks out to me is the closing track, Speak to Me. I think that one is just super dramatic. This is just a solid listen. It's cool to see that they're back and still trucking along, making some pretty good music. Yeah, okay. In Times New Roman by Queens of the Stone Age. Man, I love this record. I know some people think it kind of sounds a little generic for them, but honestly, to me, this is more of a return to form than something that feels generic, just because I feel like their sound is so unique to them. I don't know. I really like it. I'm gonna put it, I think, right here. Yeah. As the singles were coming out, I heard Emotion Sickness, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And then I heard Carnivore, and that song sold it for me. I was like, wow, this is fucking awesome. And yeah, I really think the whole album is just super consistently good, like banger after banger. I do like the strings that are incorporated here on this album with some of the songs. And my favorite song on the album is the closing track. It's Straight Jacket Fitting. I think it's 9 minutes long, and it's just so cool. It's so slick. It's so anthemic. I love it as a closing track. Seriously, I love that song. I think it's one of my favorite Queens of the Stone Age songs. Paper Machete. I think it's Silicy. Love that one. Negative Space is a banger. Time and Place has the sickest groove. Yeah, I think it's a great album. I'm gonna be happy for a Queens of the Stone Age album no matter what. I feel like. This is why I don't leave the house. I think it's my favorite Paramore album, honestly. Bangers. I mean, Hayley Williams is a goddess. Her voice is amazing. I just like the more post-punky songwriting. I like the more groove-centric stuff here. And I also love the more emotional moments, too. I mean, the title track is great. Running Out of Time is great. Big Man, Little Dignity is probably my favorite song, maybe. Super catchy chorus with a great song topic. Also, definitely love how dramatic and emotional the last song is, Thick Skull. Very, very solid album from Paramore. And again, I think it's my favorite album from them up until now.
This is why I don't leave the house. I'm always running out of time. Big man, little dignity.
Blanket by Kevin Abstract. I believe this is one of the members of Brockhampton, which is a group I feel like I've been needing to get into for a long time. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't mind it. I do think that sometimes the song ideas are a little oddball with the auto-tune or weird effects, but like overall, I'd probably put it here. I think the production's kind of cool sometimes, and I mean, it's kind of an entertaining listen, even though it is a little mixed. This is the self-titled record from Complete Mountain Almanac. This really is a beautiful record. This was kind of a last-minute listen this year, and so glad I listened to it. It's great. I'm gonna put it right here. The track list is literally just every month of the year, which, I don't know, it's kind of cool. There is just so much beauty here, really. So much nice production and textures. I love the first two tracks. I also love August and September. Very intimate listen. It's just, what can I say? I love my folk. Take Me Back to Eden by Sleep Token. This is a record that's not for me. I get the appeal. I just think the vocals really take me out of it. Also, some of the weirdest genre meshes I've heard in a while are on this album. Michael by Killer Mike. Solid rap album. Some songs land for me more than others, but I mean, I do like Killer Mike's vocal delivery a lot. I mean, he's a part of RTJ. I love the lyrical matter on this record of kind of talking about embracing oneself and self-discovery and all that. It's cool. I do like that. I think I'm going to put it right here. Again, some songs land for me more than others. I like the songs Shed Tears and Don't Let the Devil Do. My Back Was a Bridge for You to Cross by Anoni and the Johnsons. This is a record that's gained a lot of high praise this year, and I totally see why. It's an extremely passionate, moving album lyrically. It's not my favorite album of the year, but I still definitely like it. I think I'm just going to put it right here. I'm going to put it right there. I mean, I really love the song Rest. I think that's the one that clicked for me the most. I hope to see it grow on me more, just because I mean, I totally get why people love it, and it is such a beautiful album lyrically and emotionally. The vocals, I think, just took me a little bit to get used to, and I still don't know if I've fully gotten used to them, but they're still very, like, passionate, and I do love that. Remote Echoes by Duster. This is pretty much just Stratosphere Part 2, and I am very okay with that. I don't know, like, it's really cool. I think it captures that Duster vibe. I mean, some moments work more than others, and I get that it's kind of not even like a full album from them, really. It's kind of just a compilation, but still, I'm counting it. Moon and Aries is a song that could genuinely fit right into Stratosphere, and also the Weed Supreme. That's a good song, too. Gag Order by Kesha. A solid album in its message and songwriting overall. Soft Scars by Yule. I really have gotten into Yule's music this year. I love the album Serotonin too. And yeah, this is a very solid album. She definitely is changing up and evolving her sound here. I feel like it's a little bit more shoegazy and a little bit more glitch pop in terms of the vocals, which is kind of cool. Absolutely love the song Daisies. That's a phenomenal song. Aphex Twin Flame, 4UI12 or whatever that one is.
Just like you, gentle, kind of love her.
Franzoli by Psychedelic Porn Crumpets. This shit bangs. I love this. I genuinely think the first song on this album is like a 10 out of 10 track. It goes so hard. The riff goes nuts. Constantly changing and evolving. I really love that track, and it's one I've had on repeat. I also really love the closer, Mr. and Mrs. Misanthrope. Fitting closer, and yeah, I mean, overall, just really solid, enjoyable, fun, everything that psychedelic Porn Crumpets tends to be. Post-American by MS Paint. Banger record. Synth punk, fat ass bass lines. It's awesome. It's like another Limp Bizkit comparison, and I know that's a weird thing to say, but I kind of it just like has that rap rock energy, but it goes really hard, especially the title track. If you like fun, give this a listen. Formal Growth in the Desert by Protomartyr. This one didn't do quite as much for me as some other Protomartyr albums do. Still not a bad listen though at all, and I do really like Protomartyr. I think it's Relatives in Deceit? Relatives in Descent, that's what it is. That album's great. Yeah, this is still not bad though. Everything's Alive by Slowdive. I mean, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, it's serene. It's a little bit more bright than some Slowdive albums. Like the self-titled Slowdive album felt a little bit darker. This one feels a little brighter. Extremely hypnotic and swirly. The first track, Shanty, is just absolutely just engulfing. I remember the first time I pressed play and that shit came on, I was just like blasted back into my seat. Love the Slab and also A Life as well. Okay, this is gonna be hard to talk about, honestly. Today I Laid Down by Black Market Cart. This is one of my favorite projects of the year. I had heard some stuff from this album a long while ago, and it took me a while to get around to listening to the whole thing. But by the time I did, I heard the really unfortunate news that the person who made this album took their own life. It completely shattered my heart whenever I heard that. This is like a beautiful listen. The first song on this album is one of the best songs of the year for sure. Absolutely breathtaking. All I really want to say is just rest in peace to Kai, the person who made this album. And yeah, thank you for giving us this beautiful experience while you were here with us. Again, I'm gonna move on before I get a little too emotional here, but yeah. Heavy Heavy by Young Fathers. Really cool album with a lot of style switch ups and also some pretty insane songwriting. I really love the song I Saw. It just slaps so hard. Yeah, just a really cool listen overall. Harmony Codex by Steven Wilson. Very proggy, very expansive. It is a very cool listen. Not one I've returned to a lot, honestly, but one I can still very much appreciate. Yeah, I mean, songs like Beautiful Scarecrow, Impossible Tightrope, and the first track, Inclination. Yeah, all very cool. Ooh, yes. Space Heavy by King Cruel. Really fell in love with this one towards the end of the year. I liked it on first listen, but it's only grown on me since my first time hearing it. Such a specific feeling of an album. No album I have ever heard sounds like this one. I've always liked King Cruel. I've been more of a song over album person with his music, but this one changed the tides there. I love this, and especially like the first 3-4 tracks really hit for me. Flimsier, oh god, that song is drive home after a depressing day at work sort of song. It's a great late night album. Yeah, love it.
She said it seems like these days merge as one. I have been in your shell. I'm now your gal.
Knower Forever by Knower. Banger album, banger. The song that got me hooked on this, I heard it randomly. It's the song, Do Hot Girls Like Chords? Listen to that song and tell me you do not, like, fucking bust down, like, just dancing. It's so fucking awesome. Yeah, consistent album overall too, just bangers, really impressive performances. There are some scale runs on this album that really blew me away. I also want to mention the track Nightmare, that one's great. Maps by Billy Woods. With there being 17 tracks, some moments land more than others for me, but still, the highlights are so great. I love the song Year Zero. The Danny Brown feature is awesome. I've really gotten into Danny Brown this year, I feel like, a bit more. Great. I also love Babylon by Bus. That song's awesome. And same with FaceTime. Yeah, super catchy, that one. Billy Woods really is an awesome hip-hop artist.
No pun intended, I'm a step on business. Yeah. Got it for the low, like the day after Christmas.
I can take you with me, but I'll be on your phone. You can take it out.
I'm going to go ahead and do both of the Nas albums that came out this year. We have Magic 2 and 3. I like Magic 2 a little bit more. I just feel like it's a bit more consistent. Some bangers on this one. And Magic 3, a little less consistent in my opinion, but still good. Yeah, I mean, Nas is cool. I'm excited. I think I'm going to do a reaction video to Illmatic at some point. I want to do some more hip-hop reactions. I've been saving listening to some of the bigger hip-hop albums because of that, but yeah. Oh my god, we're getting through it. We're almost sort of close to being done. 5 by Unknown Mortal Orchestra. Love the production on this album. It's super full and punchy. The songs themselves, though, don't really leave much of an impact for me. Definitely an enjoyable one, though, overall. This Land is Inhospitable and So Are We by Mitski. This is easily the most I've connected with a Mitski album, honestly. I really, really love this one. I think I'm gonna put it right here. I love My Folk, but not only that, it's really expansive at points too, and just really impressive in others, super emotional with specific moments. I mean, the song My Love, Mine All Mine, that song blew up this year, and I think it's great, but I also really love so many other songs on this album. Star, Bug Like an Angel, The Deal. I love The Closer. I love Me After You. My favorite song on the album, though, is actually I'm Your Man. That song really struck a chord with me the first time I heard it, and it really has only grown. I've always liked Mitski, but this is where I feel like I've clicked with her a lot more. Honey by Samia. It's some nice indie pop. I do think there are some questionable moments here, like Breathing Song, that actually kind of like, it's just like, why? I don't know. I don't know. But the moments here that are nice are pretty nice. Some good singing and production. Radical Romantics by Fever Ray. This one didn't do all too much for me. I still don't think it's a bad listen. I'm gonna put it right here. I like some of the sounds here, like on the song Shiver. But the rest of the album, I don't know. The Record by Boy Genius. I like Phoebe Bridgers, I like Lucy Dacus, I like Julian Baker. All three of them come together to make a damn good album. Not the most like standout indie rock album, but it's solid, and I really like the song Satanist. $20 is great. I mean, they all have gorgeous voices. Wall Socket by Underscores. I listened to Fishmonger, and I like a couple songs off of it, but it didn't do all that much for me. But this one, I can say I definitely enjoyed. I still feel like in time I may click with them more, but I really love the song Uncanny Long Arms on this album. That's a funny song title. Again, hyperpop, one of those things where it's like, I'm trying to get into it. I'm still trying to figure out where I stand on it in some regard. I don't know.
What is happening to me?
Cracker Island by Gorillaz. Man, I was really hoping to like this one more. Some good songs, like I like the Stevie Nicks feature on Oil, and New Gold is pretty catchy with Tame Impala on it. It's just like, there are more interesting Gorillaz albums, I feel like. I was just hoping for a little bit more from them, because I feel like Damon Albarn can push the boundaries a little bit more. Beloved Paradise Jazz by Kenley Dixon. This is probably my hip-hop album of the year. Yeah, this is just extremely potent in its lyrics. Its instrumentation is super impressive. The bars go crazy. The delivery's awesome. It's a pretty concise experience with I think it only being around 30 minutes. Really not a single moment's wasted. It's just super impactful and super well put together. I really love the title track, and I really love Sun I Rise. And God, yeah, those strings are just, they're so good.
Wake up, held you in my arms, I barely felt the beating. This inside of my heart, I ain't really shown too many seasons. Bravo right behind me, finna let them pass. We move on how we do, because tonight my end with lastly.
The Loveliest Time by Carly Rae Jepsen. Good performances and good vocals. The songwriting didn't do all too crazy much for me. I totally get why people like it though. Census Designated by Jane Remover. I really love the first track actually. Cage Girl / Cam Girl. That song's awesome. It's super dark and like really atmospheric and really just guitar for a lot of it, but I think it's really cool. I mean, and the thing is like this isn't even really a hyperpop album. It's more shoegazy and noise rocky at points, which is really interesting going from Frailty to this album. Yeah, it's cool for sure. I love Fling and the title track's really cool too. I'm glad I clicked with this one a bit more. The Greater Wings by Julie Byrne. Don't have too much to say about this one. It's just a very nice listen on the ears. Pretty angelic vocals. Again by Oneohtrix Point Never. A very wild album with a lot of weird sounds, but very cool production. That's really what I have to say about it, honestly. That's in summary. I definitely enjoyed it though. It's a cool one. Did you know there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard by Lana Del Rey? Okay, the thing about this. Right now I'm doing a Lana Del Rey dive. I feel like this is going to grow on me on a re-listen. It's a 7 out of 10 for right now. It's in that area. But I think the next time I listen to it, it's going to go up. But even then, yeah, I really like it. A&W is great. Candy Necklace, I love that song. That's beautiful. Title track is great. Paris, Texas, Let the Light In. I understand the praise. I really do.
And I'm obsessed with this. All his candy necklaces. Jimmy, Jimmy, cocoa bar. Jimmy, Jimmy, ride. Jimmy, Jimmy, cocoa bar. Jimmy, give me high.
Bless This Mess by US Girls. Overall, some moments work more than others. That's kind of how I feel about it. But so typically now, that song is such a bop. Oh my god, I love that song. It's definitely an interesting listen and it's very dancey and I like that. I feel like I should listen to more US Girls. No Highs by Tim Hecker. This one's quite the experience. Tim Hecker, I don't have a lot of experience with, but I did really enjoy this. It's pretty intense, yet really atmospheric. It keeps your brain just moving. It's ambient. The song Anxiety and also the song Monotony, those are the ones I like the most. Just a little doom 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 or whatever, like that shit goes crazy in headphones. Mid-Air by Paris, Texas, a hip-hop adjacent album that has some punk elements to it that I really like, and I think those moments outshine the rest of the album for me, but still a pretty cool listen, and I'd be interested to hear more from them. Hell Mode by Jeff Rosenstock. Ooh, I love this record. This is a great album. I'm going to put it all the way up here. Yeah, this is the shit. This is so good. Over this year, became such a huge Jeff fan. One of my very good friends is literally Jeff Rosenstock's biggest fan ever. And when I say that, I genuinely mean that. Like, this is probably my second favorite Jeff album overall. I think Worry is still my number one. If you haven't heard Worry and you like pop punk, power pop, and all that, go listen to it. I genuinely think it's might be the best pop punk album ever made, in my opinion. Worry, yeah. But Hell Mode really is such a great listen to. Just every song, so damn catchy, so passionate. I love how this album's kind of about acceptance. It also has a bit of a commentary on society. So many great songs on this album. My favorite song on the album is the final song, 3 Summers. That song made me cry on first listen, so if that says anything, then there you go. So impactful lyrically, seriously. That song has some of the best lyrics on any album from this year. I also love Will You Still You, which is the opener, which goes straight into Head, and that song is so fun. Oh my god. Graveyard Song, oh god. Life Admin, so well deserving of the praise. Jeff is an awesome person. Got to see him live twice this year, and oh my god, those shows were so good. All around, such a great artist and great album. This dude acts like he's in his 20s all the time, and it's awesome. The youth shows. High by Sampha. Last minute listen throughout this year, and I totally get why people are loving this one. The production is so fire on this album, and same with the vocals. It's not a style I'm super incredibly used to, but again, something I'm glad I decided to check out. I love the song Suspended, Stereo Color Cloud, Spirit 2.0, all really, really good.
Airbags in my hands.
Oh, wow, okay. The Beggar by Swans. I'm honestly not going to talk about it that much right now, because I did a whole thing about it, which will be on my channel if you're interested. But yeah, it's very good. It's really, really good. Let's Start Here by Little Yachty. This was a polarizing release this year. This one was like left turn insanity, going from whatever the fuck he was doing before this, like trap rap or whatever, to psychedelic rock. It's cool. I still don't click with the vocals quite as much, but there are some really, really cool moments here. It's in the 6 out of 10 world for me. I'll put it right here. I do wish the vocals clicked for me more, because if they did, it would probably be up here. Still, I mean, the first track, the Black Seminole, great song. My favorite song on the album is the final one, Reach the Sunshine. Holy shit, that song is great. I think that actually might be a 10 out of 10 for me. Yeah, really cool moments. I'm hoping to click with it more, or click with him more, maybe in the future with other releases, but yeah. Atta by Sugar Rose. Beautiful. Sugar Rose is beautiful. I need to get into more Sugar Rose. This is just a beautiful experience. I remember almost falling asleep to this one night, and it was great. Bewitched by Laufey. This one's really cool, very pretty, has that traditional sort of sound to it, old-fashioned-y, which is kind of cool to see. I think it's really well done, though. I really do love the instrumentation on this one. Haunted is a great song. California and Me from the start. Quite the vibe of an album. Crying, Laughing, Waving, Smiling by Slaughter Beach Dog. I really love Slaughter Beach Dog, and I was kind of hoping to click with this one a little bit more. It didn't necessarily, but I still don't think it's bad. I mean, it's very pleasant on the ears, but I think Slaughter Beach Dog has a bit better. Blow Me by Suzanne Sunfer. Very pretty listen. I definitely enjoy it. Maybe not as much as some people do, but I still really like it. I'm glad I checked it out. I really love the title track.
Nobody told you what the hell is the purpose.
Powders by Earth Eater. This one's pretty cool. It's very trip hoppy, and it creates a very unique feel. There's also a Chop Suey cover on this album, which really caught me off guard. But yeah, it's a good one. I really like it. Here's another pretty wild, like, art pop-ish album, Black Rainbows by Corinne Bailey Rae. I have it, like, right here, kind of near the same level as the one we just talked about. I do like how unique this album is in terms of style switch-ups, and it's very impressive instrumentally with the strings, and just, I mean, there's freaking rock tracks on here, and then there's super expansive Bjorkish sounding songs on here. It's cool. Really appreciate the experimentation on this one. But Here We Are by Foo Fighters. Yeah, this one is pretty heart-wrenching with the loss of Taylor Hawkins. It just feels like one of their more passionate, unique projects. I mean, God, the last two songs are phenomenal. I mean, especially the last one. That one is, oh God. That one will puncture your heart. I mean, I love Dave Grohl and pretty much anything he does, but yeah, this is definitely one of the more impactful Foo Fighters records. Dark Side of the Moon Redux by Roger Waters. Not in a million years did I think I would be putting Roger Waters right here. Yeah, this one is, what is going on here? Roger Waters decided to take the Dark Side of the Moon and make it, like, kind of folky and just really, I don't know, not gonna lie, boring. It's unfortunate, but, he takes some of the songs and turns them into his own rambles and just goes on, like, oh, society and money, and it's just like, don't break what doesn't need to be fixed, you know? Like, that's all I gotta say about it. Scaring the Hose by JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown. This one was crazy this year. Everyone was talking about it. And yeah, it slaps. It's a banger. I'm gonna put it here. Not my favorite of the year or anything, but again, totally get why people love it. The production is nuts, and their performances and the songwriting are nuts. Kind of a funny album too, which is kind of nice. You got a song called Step a Pig, which is actually one of my favorites. I love the title track. I love Perfect. Alone in a Crowd by Oliver Tree. I don't really care about this album that much. I mean, I'm just gonna put it there. Yeah. Oliver Tree, I mean, I sort of liked his stuff with his first record. There's some catchy stuff there, but his last two, yeah, not the biggest fan. It's just sometimes pretty generic. The songwriting's just really cheesy, and his voice, I feel like, has gotten more annoying. I don't know. Playing Robots into Heaven by James Blake. Haven't heard a lot in the future garage genre, honestly, but this is cool. I enjoyed it. The song Tell Me was definitely the standout here. I like me some blippity bloops and blops, that's all I'll say. One More Time by Blink-182. I completely forgot about this. My entire review for this album is just the entirety of One More Time by Daft Punk. Yeah, this album, I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, the drums are like the only thing you can hear, I swear to God. They're so fucking loud. It kind of gives me a headache, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the songs, like Edging, oh my God, that song is, the lyrics to that song, oh my God, The Lamb is Effigy by Sprain. I love this album. One of my favorites of the year. I'm gonna put it right here. Yeah. Ooh, this album. This album is a lot. This is going to take your brain and squish it into a ball and throw it out the window and then stomp on it. But it's also gonna make you cry, and it's also gonna make you go insane. It's a lot. For anyone who likes Swans or anything of the type, this is for you. But it's also very slinty too. I don't know. It's such a weird thing because you'll have a song that's like that, but then the next song will be a 20-minute ambient song that has like some of the most insane instrumentation I've ever heard. And then you'll have songs with the most frantic screaming and lyrics and just performances. It is just a lot to swallow. I remember the first time I heard this, I couldn't listen to music for the rest of the day after I heard this album. The first song, Man Proposes, God Disposes, oh my God. One of my favorite songs of the year, hands down. I remember hearing that song before the album came out, and I'm like, this album is going to be special. That they broke up right after they made this album. I don't know what happened. I don't know if anyone knows what happened, but yeah, it kind of sucks because I would have loved to see them live or see where they were to go next. But I mean, at the same time, I kind of don't blame them because this really felt like them just putting their all into this album, and maybe they just didn't have anything artistically left to say after this, and you know, I respect that. I mean, God, the fucking last track on this album is just the singer breaking down, like crying pretty much. It's hard to listen to at some points just because of how devastating it is. But it's a weird thing too, because at the same time I kind of find this album to be catchy, ? I don't know, it's like it's weird. I have a weird relationship with this album because it's one that I've been returning to a lot, and I don't even know why. I love We Think So Ill of You, Margin for Error, and Reiterations. Those are all really, really great songs. Another thing about this album, before I move on, is it's like if someone came up to me and said, this is the worst thing I've ever heard, I would be like, yeah, understandable. It really is just the hardest pill to swallow, I feel like, out of any album that's come out this year. I kind of love it for that. Listen at your own discretion.
The lamb is Effigy, size, I can't believe it. All my birthdays, thoughts and ass, burned to ashes. Arachnid reputation proceeding so contrary to a familiar song.
I Am the Dog by Sir Chloe. Super glad I checked this out. This is just a great indie rock record. So many catchy songs. I love the song Daddy's Car. Ooh, so powerful. That's all I really have to say about it, but it's just super enjoyable.
I'll drive with no headlights this time.
Zig by Poppy. Was hoping for a bit more with this one. It's not bad though. There's some cool ideas. I just feel like there's some ideas that fall a little flat. Maybe just the sound of it falls a little flat to me, but it's still not a bad listen. Minus by Ed Sheeran. Why did I listen to this? I don't know why I put myself through this. I don't know why. I honestly don't even want to talk about this album. I'm just gonna move on. My Soft Machine by Arlo Parks. I appreciate the sound. The songwriting didn't stick out all too much for me though. Still not a bad listen. Electrophonic Chronic by The Arcs. I actually really enjoyed this. There's some groovy ass songs on this thing, especially the song Keep on Dreaming. I really like the production. I love the way the drums sound. It's super tight. Yeah, I like this one.
Every other city we go, every single radio has gone away.
Blonde Shell, self-titled. I don't have too much to say about this one, honestly. It's just pretty nice on the ears. I still like it though. Ooh, okay. Live at Bush Hall by Black Country New Road. This is the album that takes my number 2 spot this year. Yeah, it's going right here. This is the album I was debating really hard on with O Monolith. I was going back and forth trying to decide which one I liked more. But Live at Bush Hall, yeah. So good. I mean, it's just awesome to see that the band is continuing and still making some beautiful, really impactful music, even with the departure of Isaac Wood. I really hope he's doing okay, and I hope the rest of the band's doing good. I feel like they are, to some degree. I mean, take the song Up Song, for example. I mean, that song is a very positive song, I feel like. Look at what we did together. BCNR, friends forever, like, woo, you know? It's cute. It's cute. But then you have other songs on this album that are fucking devastating, like I Won't Always Love You, Laughing Song, and my song of the year, Turbine/Pigs. I cry every single time I hear that song. There's not many songs I can say that for, and that is one of them. Oh my god. May, her voice. I love the variety of vocalists on this album for sure, but May, her voice pierces my soul. Oh my god. She reminds me of Bjork a little bit, with her range and her delivery. But yeah, oh my god, Turbines. I could not recommend that song to y'all enough if you haven't heard it. It is actually so beautiful. Thinking about it gives me chills, man. It has one of the most amazing build-ups and payoffs ever. I feel like I think it's one of the best Black Country songs, like top 3 maybe. I mean, yeah, again, not to mention so many other great songs. The other 2 vocalists too, we got Tyler and Lewis who are singing as well. And Lewis is kind of underrated, I think. Yeah, overall, such a good record. This is also a 9.5 out of 10 for me, which is the same as O Monolith. I mean, it is literally neck and neck with these 2 albums in terms of quality for me. I love them both. But yeah, Black Country pulled through, and I'm so excited for the future, and I'm just so glad they're still making music.
What does that say?
Don't waste your pearls on me. I'm only a pig. I'm only happy.
Turn the Car Around by Gaz Kumbas. This is a fun indie record. It just solid production and performances. I honestly really like the first track a lot, Overnight Trains. Yeah, it's cool. I'd put it in this area. This Stupid World by Yo La Tengo, an album and band I'm kind of hoping to get into more, but as of right now, still haven't fully clicked with them. I feel like the ideas on this album kind of meander a bit. There are some cool ideas, but some of them I just feel like don't really go anywhere. But overall, a pleasant experience. Struggler by Genesis Owusu, I think is how you say it. I got into this dude's music this year, and it's great. This is a cool album. I like his previous record more, but this one's very cool. I especially love Leaving the Light. That song sounds like it could be in a video game soundtrack. And then you also have a song like The Roach, which is just super catchy. Those 2 are definitely my faves, but I like Tied Up, Stay Blessed, and Stuck to the Fan as well. Really unique sound and songwriter. I'm excited to see where he goes.
I would die on my knees till my hands tied. In the end, it's a roach versus a landslide.
Excelsior by Slauson Malone. I am really sad to say I didn't click with this album that much. This is a kind of a hot take, I feel like, and I totally get why people like this one, but I think it's just too all over the place for me sometimes. I will say there are 2 songs on this album that I absolutely love, those being New Joy and Half-Life. Both of those songs, phenomenal. Love those songs. The rest of the album, it didn't do as much for me. Totally respect it though, and it's very interesting. I would be willing to give more of his music a listen at some point, just because, again, I do really love those 2 songs.
Explode my chest, I'm blind. Touch my pedigree, be a double dutch.
93696 by Liturgy. I didn't listen to this album for the longest time because I was so intimidated to listen to it, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, I do think it gets a little much at times for me, but I still like it. There are some insanely impressive moments here. There really are. The longer tracks are the ones that do it for me the most. Some of these riffs are just like nasty. The title track is probably my favorite. Oh, okay. Yeah, The Worm by HMLTD. Very divisive album, I feel like, and I love it. I really love it. I just see this album to be fun. I get that it's a bit wild, and maybe the singing isn't always the best, but I don't know. I think it all works together to make this really fun, all over the place experience. Something that I feel like shouldn't work, but does for me. It's a concept album about a worm swallowing England and infecting the people and like all this crazy shit, and I'm just like, cool. I like the sound. I really like the song Wormlands. Actually, I think my favorite song on the album is Days. That song is actually beautiful. I feel like you can take that song out of the concept of the album as well and kind of separate it, which is nice. Yeah, that song is actually just gorgeous. God, what else is there? There's Lay Me Down. That one's kind of a fun track. The Saddest Worm Ever. Maybe next time I won't have to tell you twice. It's super fun, super theatrical. I like shit like that. I totally understand why people don't like it as much, but I don't know. I think it works for me.
There's a worm in everybody, and we're living in the belly of a worm. This is Wormland!
Hold me till my dying days. Have I told you, darling, you're the ghost I fear the most?
In the End It Always Does by The Japanese House. Pleasant listen. I feel like some of the ideas can get a little stale at points, or like I just feel like some of the songs could expand further. Still a pleasant listen for sure. Heartwheel by Hotline TNT. Last minute listen for me this year. Pretty fun, noisy, shoegazy record. Spot Me 100 is my favorite song here. I think it's a pretty underrated track this year. Random discovery last minute, and I'm glad I gave it a shot. College Park by Logic. Literally haven't heard anything by Logic. This is my first Logic album, and I like the story. I was actually really invested with the story. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought the story was really cool. As a sound though, it sometimes it can get a little bit for me. But I do really like the story though. I will give it credit for that. So I will put it right here. Hurting by Sign Crushes Motorist. I like some of Liam's other material more, like as I was talking about earlier with Dead Calm. This one, yeah. Except, I mean, it's not bad. I think it does get a little one note sometimes compared to some of his other stuff, and it is a really, really sad album. But yeah, not bad overall. Oh my god, okay, I have some shit to say about this album. Love and Pop by Current Joys. This is another one of the biggest left turns of the year for sure. If y'all don't know, I am a massive, massive Current Joys fan. I've talked about it a bit before, but Nick Radigan, one of my favorite songwriters of all time. And Love and Pop is such a weird album in a lot of ways. My consensus with this album is it's okay. I'm gonna put it right here. It's an alright album, but what I want to emphasize is like I'm just glad Nick Radigan is doing what he wants to do. I always support that whether or not I personally enjoy it. And I mean, that goes for any of the albums I dislike. In reality, that's how I feel. Even if I don't personally like something, I'm just glad the artist is doing what they want to do. And that's especially how I feel with this album, because he takes a lot of Lil Peep influence. It's wild. There are some songs in here that I do not like, and there are some songs that I really have like a guilty pleasure for. I don't know. I really love the title track. The lyrics kind of make me cringe, but I kind of love it at the same time. I don't know. I love the opener, Walk Away as the Door Slams. My Shadow Life is great. But to blow your mind even more, most of the songs on this album are like maybe 1 to 2 minutes long, really short. But then the final song on this album is called You Are the Reason, and it's an 8-minute dance track that is completely different from any other song on the album. And I love it. Like, I actually love it. I've actually returned to it a lot this year, and it's so weird. It is just wild that Nick Radigan went into this direction. It's completely different from Voyager and from all the indie shit he was doing, but, you know, I commend him for doing something different, and as I was saying, I'm just glad he's doing what he wants to do. 72 Seasons by Metallica. I mean, it's Metallica being Metallica. It's fine. Quarenta by Danny Brown. As I was saying earlier, Danny Brown is an artist I've gotten into this year a bit more, and I like this album. I feel like some of the other stuff I've heard him on, like instrumentally and like backing track wise, it was a little crazier. But I really appreciate this album for the lyricism. I think it's just very real. Him kind of coming to terms with his age and just stuff like that. I think that's really cool. That Feels Good by Jessie Ware. Super fun album. It's dancey. Production's great. The singing's great. Definitely not something I normally listen to, but honestly, it's a freaking vibe, and it bops. It goes crazy. I totally get the praise for it. Ooh Rap Aya by George Clanton. Love this one. This one's super awesome. Such a euphoric listen, just on the production end and just the amount of swirly synths there are. Great singing, really cool songwriting, and just such a entrancing atmosphere. My favorite song on here is Everything That I Want. I love that one. Super catchy, and just it's instant euphoria whenever it plays and when everything comes in. I've got everything that I want. Like, that shit goes crazy. I've Been Young and For You I Will are also super big highlights for me. I'm gonna listen to more George Clanton. I know he has another album called Slide that people like quite a bit, so I'm excited to listen to that. Pollen by Tennis. Indie pop bops. It's fun. It's nice on the ears. Not something I return to as much, but I like the track Forbidden Doors. The Ballad of Darren by Blur. Was looking forward to this one, and it's fine. I feel like Blur is kind of a hit or miss group for me in some ways. Yeah, this album, I mean, there's some nice songs on it, but in the context of Blur's discography, I don't know if it's my favorite. I like 13 the most, actually, I think. Inside the Old Year Dying by PJ Harvey. A pretty experimental album. I don't really have too many thoughts on it. I just feel like some moments work more than others. Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. I like it. It's pretty good. I do think there are some standout songs on here like Vampire and The Grudge. Pretty Isn't Pretty is good too. Just there are some moments that I'm like, okay, this isn't really my thing. But I understand why it's some other people's thing, you know. Put it right here. Hackney Diamonds by the Rolling Stones. I've actually been going through the Rolling Stones stuff, and it's been an interesting experience just because I feel like there are some great albums, and then there are some albums that I'm like, okay. And this is one of those albums where it's all right. I do really like the song Sweet Sounds of Heaven, though. That song is gorgeous and really works, and I think it's one of the best Rolling Stones songs since their early career, so that's kind of cool. But as an album, yeah, it's just the Rolling Stones being the Rolling Stones. Life is But a Dream by Avenged Sevenfold. This is a polarizing one. This one was a weird one this year, and I like it more than other people do, I feel like. I feel like a lot of people dislike it, like just outright, and I get it, but I kind of think some of these songs are fun. That's my argument for it. I just think it's a little fun and a little over the top, but I don't know. I think some of the riffs kind of do go hard, like on Beautiful Morning and Cosmic, and also G. But yeah, I mean, I can understand why someone would be like, yeah, this sucks. Okay, we are wrapping up here. One more album, and then there's something I have to say about all these albums together. So this album is called I Killed Your Dog freaking brutal, by L Rain, or Lil Rain or whatever. It has a pretty cool mix of indie rock and like psychedelia. I like the song Pet Rock. I think that's kind of a good song. Groovy. And I love Uncertainty Principle too. Those are cool songs. But there are also ideas that don't work for me as much, like with Clumsy. And there's a lot of little short interludes that I don't really get why they're there. They don't really, I don't know. They don't really add much to me. But not a bad album. It's still in the 6 out of 10 range. I'd put it here. Wow. Oh my god. Okay, we are almost done. I think I have 4 hours of footage right now. This is insane. So the rest of these albums are going to be grouped together. And the reason for that is because they were all albums sent to me by community members over on Album of the Year. I'm going to put them all up on the screen right now. I just wanted to shout all these people out because they're very talented, really commend, making something and putting it out there and even just sharing it with me. It's very cool to hear just a lot of the talent over across the music community. Oh, one more thing I wanted to talk about real quick is I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who listened to the Midnight Session record this year. Empty Homes and Blue Light. Really appreciate it. I'm very proud of that album, and I'm excited to share with y'all everything that I'm working on musically. There's a lot I think that's going to be happening this year in terms of my projects and stuff I'm involved with. So I'm really excited to share all that with y'all. So be on the lookout if you're interested. But yeah, just huge thank you to anyone who gave that record a listen. Whether you liked it or not, I really appreciate it. But yeah, that'll do it. That is everything. Wow. I can't believe we got through that. Oh, yeah. This was crazy just to do. I have 4 hours of footage I need to edit. Oh my god. Y'all gotta get me through this. Yeah, it's been a really fun year. I think it's been a very good year overall for music. I mean, I feel like that's what I say most of the years. But, yeah, I really did enjoy listening to every one of these albums this year, just going through everything. It's been fun, it really has, and it's been a big motivation for me, just to listen to as much new stuff as possible. And yeah, I mean, I hope y'all enjoyed my ranting for fucking forever about all this shit. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this, I thank you. Thank you for watching me rant for this long. This is probably going to be the longest video I will ever make on this channel. Look forward to some content I'm putting out. I have a lot of ideas and there's a lot of stuff that I have recorded that I just need to edit and put together and release. Y'all will probably see that in the near future. Yeah, so thank you again for watching, and I will see y'all soon.